How has North Korea, one of the poorest countries in the world, managed to evade UN sanctions and pay for its nuclear weapons program? The answer is through a secretive government organization known as Bureau 39, which obtains foreign exchange by any means possible to fund Kim Jong-un's regime. In the first of 2 episodes investigating how it's done, we reveal how money laundering and slave labor raise cash for Kim.
North Korea, the pariah state. A dictatorship shrouded in mystery. Every day, the official newspapers praise the heroic deeds of the dear leader. Time seems to stand still here. North Korea has the 4th largest army in the world. For 3 generations, the Kim family has ruled the country with an iron fist. But how does the regime manage to survive despite severe UN sanctions? And how come Kim Jong-un has enough money to threaten the world with the most powerful weapon of all time, the nuclear bomb? Far from North Korea, Remco Breuker, a history professor, is working on answers to these questions. He says our image of North Korea is wrong.
North Korea isn't what it tells it is. Just look at the country functions at the highest level. What is the main goal of the government, of the regime, I should say? It's to make money, it's to make cash for Kim. What intrigues me personally is how North Korea manages to make money. One of the questions we were stuck with is, where does the money go? How much money does North Korea make?
For North Korea's leadership, questions like these are dangerous.
The North Korean regime sent a letter of indictment under my name to the Dutch government, charging me with 3 capital crimes. The worst of the 3 was the accusation that our research, my research, it was in my name, damaged the supreme dignity of the supreme leader. Now this sounds like it's a funny crime, right? It's damaging the supreme dignity of somebody. In North Korea, it carries a death penalty.
Remco Breuker's investigations threaten to disrupt North Korea's cash flow. The country is internationally isolated because of its nuclear program. Without legal sources of income, the regime has taken to raising money illegally. New York, the seat of the United Nations. Since 2006, the UN has imposed 9 rounds of sanctions against North Korea. These measures are monitored by an international panel of experts. The panel consists of 8 members, including ex-intelligence, military, and financial experts. For their own safety, they work in secret. Only the coordinator, Hugh Griffiths, is willing to speak on camera.
The sanctions have a tremendous impact on one level on North Korea. It means that their economy can't flourish in the way it would. They can't ship coal legitimately. They can't ship iron ore legitimately. Foreign currency is very important to any country, no matter how autarkic its economy. You need foreign currency to buy the goods that are essential for your population or for your elite group. So foreign currency is pretty essential to North Korea's survival. The question is, what's more important to the North Korean leadership, developing a nuclear and ballistic missile program or seeing their economy flourish?
The regime decided to go for the bomb. In 2005, it officially announced that it had nuclear weapons as a protection against attacks from the outside and to strengthen its power on the inside. Pyongyang, the city of the chosen. Brand new apartment blocks line spotlessly clean avenues. Here is where Pyongyang's upper class resides. Only those who are considered loyal to the regime live here. Those who want to enter the capital from the outside need a permit. Song Kyun-chul from Pyongyang's Economic Research Institute. He's authorized to talk to journalists, for example, about the sanctions.
완전한 제재는 불가능하다. 우리도 지금 제재 속에서도 일종하게 대경제 사업은 하고 있습니다. 그 제재를 하겠으면 하라. 하든 안 하든 우리는 우리 힘, 우리 기술, 우리 발전 방식을 가지고 살아나간다는 것. 우리식 자력갱생을 번영의 보검으로 틀어지고 계속 앞으로 나갈 것이라는 것. 이렇게 생각합니다.
The sanctions that have been put on North Korea are extremely strict. I mean, there's probably not been a country that has been sanctioned more diversely and more strictly. At the same time, they're no longer working. There is a huge problem with our North Korea policy and using sanctions to try and have the regime modify its behavior. Because we're not sanctioning the one entity that earns most of its money, that keeps it afloat financially, that keeps it alive.
Many high-ranking defectors from North Korea talk about a secret government department that's said to administer the regime's secret funds. Allegedly, Kim Il-sung and his son Kim Jong-il set it up in the late 1970s and equipped it with wide-ranging powers. Its tasks? Securing an independent power base for the Kims and raising money for the nuclear bomb and the leader's personal luxury. Its name, Bureau 39. Only 200 kilometers to the southeast, Seoul, South Korea's hypermodern capital. Around 25 million people live in the metropolitan area, about half the population of South Korea. Among them, most of the 30,000 people who managed to flee from North Korea. Ko Young-hwan was a North Korean diplomat. He escaped in 1991. Later, he was deputy director of South Korea's Institute for National Security Strategy. Few people know more about the Kim regime's workings than he does.
김정일 국방위원장이 취임을 하면서 노동당 재정정리부 3층 9호실에 이름을 따서 39호실이라고 만들었다는 설이 있고 지금까지도 39호실은 김정은의 비자금을 담당하는 부서입니다.
Talk to any prominent North Korean exile and they'll all tell you that Bureau 39 is absolutely crucial in earning revenues for the North Korean regime. It's absolutely vital. Take it away, everything collapses.
Here in New York, the United Nations impose and monitor the sanctions against North Korea. An entity as important as Bureau 39 should be heading the list of banned organizations.
Office 39 is normally talked about by North Korean defectors. We don't really see Office 39 in our investigations. Instead, we're looking at the North Korean banks and the shell companies that traditionally operate overseas in third countries to generate foreign currency, and then that money is sent back to North Korea.
Bureau 39 outside of North Korea is not called Bureau 39. Nobody identifies as somebody who works for Bureau 39. So it's very difficult to slap sanctions on people you don't really know are active.
Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Since the 1980s, North Korea has been procuring foreign currency here in the heart of Africa. Ko Young-hwan witnessed a particularly spectacular case at the time.
콩고 민주공화국에 있었는데 돈을 찍는 공장을 가지고 있습니다. 미국 외화를 달러를 찍어냈습니다. 1달러짜리 지폐를 사서 그건 진폐입니다. 1달러짜리를 지워버리고 그 위에 100달러짜리를 인쇄하는 방법으로 처음엔 그렇게 썼어요. 처음에 쓰던 방법은 어떻게 썼는가 하면 달러를 바꾸는 밀매업자들한테 가서 100달러짜리 뭉치에다가 가운데다가 2, 3천 불을 유저 지폐를 넣어서 10,000달러다. 그러면 다 이렇게 봐요. 그럼 10,000달러치를 주제국 돈으로 줘요. 그럼 주제국 돈을 받아가지고 그걸 중앙은행에다 넣고 중앙은행에서 3달러를 받아가지고 그걸 평양에 가져가서 결국은 39호실에 들어가는 거고.
Bureau 39 never acts openly, but its fundraising activities span the globe. Angkor Wat in Cambodia, a World Heritage Site. Over 2.5 million people visit the old Khmer temples every year. Selfies for the tourists. Foreign exchange for Cambodia. Angkor Wat's operating company earned more than $100 million in 2018. Tourism is by far the largest industry here, a lucrative business. Also for North Korea. Right next to the entrance to the temples, a museum that opened in 2015. At its heart is a 3D painting that depicts the history of the Khmer Empire in monumental images. Throngs of tourists are guided through here every day.
So for the painter, they from North Korean. We have 63 painters. They took 1 year and 4 months to painting. The North Korean construct the museum.
Circumventing UN sanctions, North Korea not only built the complex, but also financed it. In return, the North Koreans collect all the revenues for the first 10 years. After that, they'll share the profits. The North Korean CEO doesn't want to appear in front of the camera, but he says the museum makes about $7 million a year in entrance fees alone. Cambodia and North Korea have maintained close relations for decades. Kim Il-sung and Cambodia's King Norodom Sihanouk were good friends. A solid basis for today's business ties that contravene UN sanctions. In the evening when the museum closes, the North Koreans throw another set of doors open for the hungry tourists. They don't want cameras in the restaurant, so we film in secret.
All right.
The menu boasts North Korean specialties, such as cold noodles and sea cucumber. The prices are surprisingly high by Cambodian standards. A main course costs up to $50. In particular, tourists from China and South Korea visit the restaurant. The young women who serve here are mostly art students from Pyongyang. They live and sleep above the restaurant and are often not allowed to leave the premises for years. Every evening at the same time, they change their costumes and get ready for the big show. There are 130 such North Korean restaurants worldwide, 3 of them in Cambodia. They're said to make several $1 million a year, but the waitresses don't get paid for their work. The dollars flow directly into the regime's secret coffers. No other country exploits its population as systematically as North Korea. North Korean workers are deployed worldwide, even in the European Union, in Poland. Here we encounter North Korean work brigades on a building site. They've been promised good wages and decent working conditions, only to be treated like slaves. In the evening, after a 12-hour shift, the workers are driven to their barracks. They're monitored around the clock by North Korean state security. Still, one of them decides to talk.
혼자 나오시는데 괜찮으셨어요?
예, 일요일에는 혼자 나오는 게 괜찮습니다.
만약에 들키시면 어떻게 되세요?
문책을 당하지요. 법에 끌려가서 문책당하고 그리고 조사받지요. 조사받고 마지막에 이 조사가 심해지면 평양에 끌려가가지고 거기서 또 조사해가지고 마지막에는 종당에는 감옥에 가게 되지요.
여기 직장이 있으신 거죠?
네, 저는 30대인데 우리 집 사람하고 딸을 고향에 두고 혼자 돈 벌러 나왔죠. 네, 그런데 아무리 일을 많이 해도 돈을 모으기가 너무 힘들어요. 네, 형편없지요. 아무데나 갈 수도 없고 자유가 없어요. 조 단위로 같이 생활하니까 우리 임금이 다 뜯기는 거 알고 계시죠? 우리한테 지어지는 건 조금밖에 안 돼요. 다 뜯기지만은 그래도 집사람하고 딸이 있기 때문에 할 수 없이 이거 해야 되는 그런 방법밖에 없어요.
Modern slavery. North Korea sends well-trained workers to Poland to toil in shipyards and on construction sites. The workers' families are held hostage in North Korea. If the worker flees, the family at home is often severely punished. The workers only earn about 90 euros per month. The rest goes to the regime. Cash for Kim. Largely unnoticed by the international community, North Korea has sent laborers all over the world, up to 150,000 in all. About 40,000 of them are in Russia, and up to 100,000 in China. North Koreans also work in Kuwait, Malaysia, Cambodia, Mongolia, Oman, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and in African countries. Under UN sanctions, these workers need to go back to North Korea, but the practice still continues. Experts estimate that the regime makes up to $1 billion a year this way.
어떤 방식으로 하던 돈이 모이는 최종 집합지는 39호실. 요거는 39호실에서 하는 겁니다. 그러면 거기서 손을 못 대는 거죠.
Defectors say that Bureau 39 is directly controlled by Kim Jong-un. It manages the leadership's secret accounts, the so-called palace economy. But where in Pyongyang is Bureau 39 located? And how many millions flow into its coffers? When we ask the North Korean official, he and his translator pretend not to know.
무슨 39층 소리 하는데 오히려 대해서 알고 계시는 39층이라는 거지. 나도 지금 뒤에 앉아서 질문이 무슨 소리야? 39층? 아파트가 39층?
Bureau 39 is one of the best-kept secrets of the Kim regime. Only North Koreans who've escaped can talk about it openly. Seoul. At a secret location, we meet a man who used to work for Bureau 39. He was based in China. His task? Smuggling foreign currency. Then he escaped. His position was so important that today the North Korean regime threatens to kill him. This is why he had plastic surgery to alter his face. Even so, he only wants to be filmed from behind.
이제 북한의 경제는 사회주의 계획 경제가 아니니까 그 사회주의 계획 경제는 이제 국가가 모든 주민들에게 이제 식량을 비롯해서 뭐 모든 걸 공급하는 이제 그러한 체계 돌아가는 게 이제 계획 경제거든요. 근데 이제 북한이 이러한 것들을 이미 이제 포기를 했습니다. 그래서 일반 주민들에 대한 그러한 뭐 식량 공급이라든가 뭐 이제 생활 필수품이라든가 이러한 공급들은 이제 다 포기했고요. 나머지 사람들은 다 시장에 이제 우거해서 살아가고 있습니다. 그러니까
To understand Bureau 39 and the capitalist structures of North Korea, it's important to understand its history. In 1991, the Soviet Union breaks up. North Korea loses one of its most important trading partners. While many former socialist states now rely on market economics, the Kims continue to isolate themselves. When Kim Jong-il takes over from his late father in 1994, a famine breaks out.
During the Great Famine in the mid-90s, many North Koreans starved to death. The public distribution system collapsed. Witnesses describe seeing mountains of dead bodies in the streets. Anywhere between 1 to 3 million North Koreans died. So what happened is that North Koreans now knew that if they wanted to survive, they could no longer trust or rely on the state.
From then on, the rural population in particular had to be self-sufficient. Black markets started to emerge all over North Korea. They're called jangmadang. All sorts of currencies are accepted, especially American dollars and Chinese yuan. Today there are countless of these markets throughout the country. 400 of them are even officially licensed and provide tax income for the regime. Mainly food and goods from China are bartered and sold here.
뭐 잘 알다시피 북중 국경이라는 게 몇 킬로 남아가 이제 그 국경을 맞대고 있습니다. 거의 뭐 한 제가 알고는 한 70-80% 지역의 그 위치에는 그런 철조망 같은 것도 없거든요. 이걸 통해서 주민들, 국가가 통제하지 않는 이런 주민들의 교역이 아주 활발하게 진행되고 있는 거로 제가 알고 있습니다.
So the regime tried to control the market, but it knows it can't, because if it shuts down the market without having in place another public distribution system, people die of hunger. And North Koreans are not going to let that happen again. They know what happened last time. And that's how North Korea really changed from a socialist country with an economy in ruins to a capitalist country with a hybrid economy that looks socialist but really is really capitalist.
The biggest profiteers from these black markets are Pyongyang officials. Because of their loyalty, but mainly out of financial self-interest, the regime allows them to trade. Over the years, they've become rich. They sell luxury goods, smuggle raw materials, and invest in real estate. They're called donju, money lords. They enjoy the luxury and the freedom that the regime grants them, but their loyalty comes at a price. Many donju hold senior government positions, including at Bureau 39. Like this man who's been hiding in Seoul since he escaped. Born in the 90s, he experienced how North Korea developed increasingly capitalist structures. Before his escape, he was responsible for exports, Bureau 39's most lucrative business. Fearing the regime's revenge, he too doesn't want to be recognized.
우리가 흔히 이야기하는 어떤 최고 존엄에 대한 충성심 이런 거는 굉장히 이데올로기적인 거예요. 근데 이데올로기보다도 실은 더 직접적인 거는 내 물질적 만족이에요. 혹은 사회적인 지위 이런 것이 오히려 내가 거기에서 일하는 거에 대한 동기였고 목표였죠. 그거에 가깝게 접근하는 것이 그런 경제 파트에서 일하는 것이라는 걸 선택의 여지를 더 이상 두지 않았고 그랬기 때문에 저희는 그거였어요. 남들과 똑같이.
In that respect at least, North Korea's go-getters are no different from their counterparts in the West.
뭐 보혜부라든가 검찰이라든가 이 사람들이 함부로 손을 못 댑니다. 왜? 그 사람들은 엄연하게 당에 필요한 외화를 벌고 있기 때문에 그 이런 안전기관이라든가 보혜기관이라든가 검찰기관이 마음대로 이제 어떻게 할 수가 없는 거예요. 웬간하게서 이제 법에 저촉되는 일도.
In the next of our two investigations, how insurance scams, computer hacking and illegal arms sales keep the money rolling in.